Making tutorials for my YouTube channel is not a new direction for me. It's actually been on my list for a very long time, basically since I decided to shift my focus from making documentaries for TV channels such as National Geographic and put all my attention towards generating content for YouTube, a journey that I now truly love. Especially as I've had some really heartwarming comments from people who really are enjoying what I'm trying to do, especially when I'm making my adventure travel films. So now I want to give something back. I'm in Kathmandu, Nepal, making a documentary about trekking to Everest Base Camp. So I thought, what a better location to make a start. So my plan over the coming months is to make a series of films that will take you from the A to Z of filmmaking. And storytelling is at the very heart of that foundation. Once you've unwrapped it, discovered it and learned to play with it, there'll be no turning back. Then all you need to do is just get out there with a camera in your hand, it doesn't matter what it is, and go and explore the world around you. Then perhaps this film will help you raise the standard of your own content creation. So now let's focus about that word storytelling and how to work with it right into the edit, where I think probably people struggle the most. Not necessarily which button to press, but how to work with the material once they've shot it. But I guess for me, besides the filming itself, which is where I started and I love the most, it's story editing that I've probably spent the most of my time doing as a director. And I'll explain in this film my process. So, with more content like this to come, make sure you hit that subscribe button to find out more about this subject and filmmaking in general. Telling the story of the world around you can be so rewarding and so much fun. And for me, it's something that I've never looked back on. So much so that also on my channel is a film about how I got started in the industry after watching Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom at the age of 14. And if you're curious about that film, how Indiana Jones changed my life, I'll place a link in the description. So let's get cracking about the subject of this film, story. But to make a film, let's say for argument's sake, an adventure travel film, you should always have a purpose, a reason to film it. Now that can be quite simple. Perhaps you've been going through a tough patch and you want your film, your journey, to reflect that. That's a very powerful story. Or perhaps say you've overcome some kind of illness or injury, or you're raising support for a local charity. A personal journey with a reason behind it makes a very, very powerful and emotive film. Now, however, let's say that you don't want to make a film about yourself. Then perhaps find an aspect of that journey that you want to take time to explore and convey. For example, I recently did the Great Glen Way, a long distance hike in Scotland, where I split my story into two parts. The first part was about the engineering achievements of Thomas Telford, who designed the Caledonian Canal, which the route follows. And the second part of the story was about the geological forces that allowed the canal to take place in the story. And I told my story as the landscape changed and allowed. But to do that, however, you need to do your research. You need to know your facts. And then you need to ask yourself, how are you going to deliver that into the edit? And that's a big topic. So it's going to be the subject of my next film, how to work with voiceover, because there are some tips, tricks and techniques that will help you deliver reams of information into your film. So please subscribe to my channel and stay tuned for that one. In fact, there are thousands of stories that you could explore when making a film, and there isn't a right or wrong or a better or worse idea. It's just what works for you. But just think about giving some extra information to camera. Be honest and share your experience and knowledge that you found along the way. Also, consider something we call in the film business the story arc. Before you even set foot on your journey, think about what the overall message is. What is the purpose of the film? What emotions do you want to show? Who is your target audience? And what are the beats in the script? What I mean by that is, are there any physical highlights on your journey? Or any euphoric or exhilarating moments? When do you want your film to pique interest as you progress? And these will help you understand your edit later and give you pace, and it will help you create scenes. And with the creation of scenes, it will allow you to shift your focus to different storylines or elements within your edit. Actually, I always think about the edit long before I step into the edit room. In fact, I think about the edit long before I've even packed my bag. When I was 17, I had a mentor from the BBC, and the best piece of advice he gave me was, Kevin, when you make a film, shoot it in your mind, use your mental TV. And this mental TV approach is something that I still use today. And in fact, I'll be exploring it in detail in a film later on my channel. But in essence, it allows you to shoot the film before you've even shot it. Also, of course, the story doesn't have to be about you. You could be behind the camera, never seen or heard. Perhaps you're filming a group of friends who are, say, hiking on Kilimanjaro, and that's the story you want to tell. This, of course, is more a traditional broadcast form approach, where the crew and the participants are very much separated in the edit of the final film. But we all know, of course, that the crew is very much there with the participants on the physical adventure, and sometimes their paths will inevitably cross, where the crew might have to get involved in the story itself, perhaps because of a safety or a practical issue, or when things go wrong, seriously wrong, fatally wrong. In fact, this happened to me whilst making a documentary on the north face of Mount Everest. I was making a film about a blind climber, and he succumbed to high altitude cerebral edema and lost his life near the summit. And if that wasn't enough, I then became involved in the rescue of a fellow climber called Lincoln Hall. And at that point, I turned the cameras upon myself as I attempted to coordinate a rescue. But the thing I learned the most from that production is when things do hit the proverbial fan, that's when to film the most. Apart from your documentary subject dying, there are definitely some other downsides when it comes to filming other people and excluding yourself from your own story. You have to be pretty sure that your contributors can deliver content to camera and not just monosyllabic one-word answers. The director's nightmare is when you ask, "How are you doing today?" and the response is, "Okay." So make sure you ask open-ended questions like, "Tell me about the ascent we just walked." Just get them to talk and open their heart to the camera. And then you're going to start to get those golden nuggets right for your edit. I recently made a bike packing film in Iceland for my channel, entirely shot on iPhone. And in fact, I filmed one of my best mates, Rob Small, who'd recovered from a horrific burn injury after being ablaze for 22 seconds with petrol after a generator exploded. He'd since made a full recovery, but had endured 36 operations and months in a coma. But from a filming point of view, he was a director's dream. Every time you turn the camera on, albeit an iPhone, he just kept on giving golden nuggets of narrative to camera.
At the start of the trip, we're having real problems pronouncing where we were going. Road signs, locations. So we just stopped trying because it's too hard and embarrassing. I think I'd probably get more hate from the Icelandic people trying really hard and getting it wrong than just saying "Blodos, have a stamanagagagi." I'll get this, right? Have a stangy. I don't know. And that one is Vlandagalingabigabigaba.
But to be honest, these people are quite rare in the filming world. But if you can make a film about someone with a similar personality, then you're already halfway to making a great film. So to summarise, whatever journey you're undertaking, just stop and think, what is this film really about and how can I tell it better? And you'll come out with a great and powerful story to inspire others to head out there too. I love YouTube, it's such a great resource, and if you can, please subscribe, because in my next film I'm going to explore story development further and what techniques I've been using for over hundreds of hours of programming when it comes to using voiceover. how to shoot for voiceover on the road, and then how to work with it in the edit. Thanks for watching this film. I hope it's been of some value. As mentioned, this is a start on my YouTube channel about you creating your own travel adventure content. The films I've got planned will work in a logical sequence, so I'll see you in the next film, which will be about using voiceover as a tool to create a story. Until then, don't forget to hashtag adventure travel filmmaking.